All right, Lyndsay, it's so nice to have you on the show. I'm so excited you're here today.
I
Thank
could
you.
not be more excited for this, Amy. Let's do this.
All right, so let's start with reinvention at 50. You started
Oh,
Heartbeat for Hire at 50 after more than 2 decades at IBM. So, what gave you the courage to step away from corporate life and build something of your own?
I don't know that I knew it was courage at the time. When I left IBM and I went to this other company and they fired me after 6 months, it was such a blow. I thought I was the only executive to ever be fired on earth. I thought no one would ever work with me again. I thought I had a scarlet letter and I was kind of at a real loss. So after a month of licking my wounds, I asked myself three questions. What am I really good at? What do I love to do? And how can I help people the most? And that's what kind of gave me my true north and my compass for what kind of work I wanted to do. And I was so burned by that experience. That gave me a lot of fire to move forward and create Heartbeat for Hire. So I don't know if it was bravery or it was determination or if it was just like blind brass balls, but I just kind of went for it. And yeah, that's kind of what
Yeah,
motivated me
it
to get
takes
there.
it takes more than courage sometimes to do what we need to do, to make shifts, big shifts. Sometimes you get thrown into big shifts in life. I know most of my big
100%.
shifts in life have not been something I was seeking, but something that kind of happened to me. And then it's like, all right,
So
how can
true.
I grow from this? What are we
So
gonna
true.
do?
Yeah,
Right? So
I also don't think I knew what the hell I was doing either, and I thought, like, this glorious, 25-year career of doing hard things and creating first of a kind businesses and managing big accounts would have me very well equipped for this next chapter. Wrong. It did not work that way at all. I learned so much. I learned so many lessons, and it's just entrepreneurship is very different than working in a corporate setting, so and I'm sure you know
it's
this.
so different. Yeah, I think when you're at a corporation, it's kind of it's a little easier to I don't know, almost like hide. Your work is a little more
Kind of a little safety
obscured.
net.
There's
Yeah.
lots of people around, but when you're on your own, there's no one else, and if you don't do it, no one else is gonna do it.
There were
That's
so
the
many
thing.
things I didn't think about, like, I have to do taxes? Ugh. I have to
Yes.
plan my own travel. I have to, like there was all
Mhm.
these things that I was like, "Oh,
I know.
there's no one picking up this slack. This is just all mine now." So,
Yeah,
it has its
totally.
pros and cons.
I do love that Expedia app, though. That kind of is how I book the
It does
corporate
help.
travel for the company. Like, sorry, everybody's information is just loaded and I can just go.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
So you've seen leadership done both brilliantly and badly. What made
Yes.
you want to dedicate this chapter of your life to transforming company culture?
I mean, the most recent example of what I had to experience was enough to make everyone I didn't want people to have to experience that kind of leadership again. And when I keynote and I ask a room full of people, who here has had a bad leader? 100% raise their hand. 100%.
Yeah.
And then when I say, who here has had a great leader? It's a lot less. And that was just kind of fuel for fodder for me to say, no, we can do better than that. And how I learn is through stories. And that's how I speak. That's how I teach. That's how I sold. That's how I managed my teams. And so I was just kind of focused on how can I leverage story to help people understand what bad leadership looks and feels like and what good leadership is supposed to be. And if you've never had a good leader, you don't know what that looks like. And I was one of those people for the first like 15 years of my career. All of my leaders were like pale male and stale dudes in tech who gave like these sports analogies as motivation, like the game last night on the 30-yard line. This should make you, I'm like, this should make me want to leave. This is not inspiring. I can't stand these analogies. And I didn't watch the game and I'm not going to watch the game. And so all that stuff just felt so inauthentic and just unrealistic. And I was just like, "Ugh, this is lame." And then when you first get your great first leader who sees you and understands what you're capable of and says these things to you like, "Okay, Lindsay, I just promoted you. How do you want to run the business?" Me? You you want to know what I think? You want to know? Yeah, you've been doing this for a while. So how do you want to do it? Oh my gosh, when these things happen, it's groundbreaking. It's like this is how it's supposed to be. And so
Yes.
I collected those stories from my own experience and from the hundreds and hundreds of leaders I've worked with in the last 3 years that show the right way. And there's tons of stories on how to do it right.
I
So I love to do that.
I love it, and it's such a woman's way. Storytelling is such the woman's way to do things, and it's a great way to teach humanity. It's why, the Bible was such a popular thing. It's just
Yeah,
it's not just a list of rules, it's a bunch of stories that show you the parables of things, and that's the
totally.
really the way that humanity has learned over and over and over again. I
Mhm.
love that. So you just get up there and tell stories and help people change the way that they lead.
So when I keynote, I take people on a roller coaster. I mean, we start off and I give them a complete tragic disaster story that makes them audibly gasp, and these are all true. And they're like, "Oh." And then I give them a really good story and we take them up. And then we go crashing down or another terrible one and then a good one and then a crash again. But those crashing stories are so abhorrent and so terrible that they remember those. And
Mhm.
they remember the good ones too because the good ones also yielded results. And I closed some of my biggest deals under my greatest leaders. And that's the point. Like, it's not just let's kumbaya and have a good time. It's let's change the ROI. Let's change the energy and the feeling of this company. And when your people are excited about what they're
Mhm.
doing, they produce. It's that
Yes.
simple. And there's been a million studies that show this from Harvard, from MIT, from everywhere that I've seen, that I've included in my book. I mean, this is not Lyndsay just telling you this is right. This is proven. And I just hope that more leaders sign on to the leading with heart style of leadership because it works.
I absolutely love it. I mean, it's definitely I love it because that's how I like to lead too. I really want everybody to feel like super stoked about what they're doing. I want them
Yes.
to feel like they're doing what they want to be doing. They feel capable doing what I've tasked
Yeah.
them to do, and
But
they're
you also
excited
let
about
them
it.
feel seen. And
Yeah.
there's, so many leaders succumb to the pressure of, I've got a quota, I've got to get this deadline, I've like whatever that is. And they lose track of the fact that they're responsible to their people. And when you think about the moment you become a manager, you become the topic of dinner conversation. So make sure it's good
Right.
because the reason people leave, and when you ask somebody, how do you like your job? They're answering how they feel about their boss. So the
Right.
bosses are the reason that people leave. It's not usually the company. So
So
it's
true. Yeah, it's
important to
always the
remember.
comes down to people. Yeah. People
100%.
over and then people create the culture too.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, people are
Yeah.
the culture. I love this. We were talking about this. You
Yeah.
said there's no more job security anymore, only
Yes.
career security. What does that mean, and how can people build it through their personal brand and network?
Yeah, I mean, well, think about it this way. There's nobody that does what I did. There's no one staying in jobs for 20 years anymore. That just
Mm-mm.
rarely happens. And if they're there, it's just because they've been there and they never had the courage to leave, or they have such a sweet deal that, they're not going anywhere. So it's normal to bounce around, but it's also normal to lose your job. And that is a thing that certainly I didn't know when I when I lost my job because I had never experienced anything like that before. But it is 100% normal to expect layoffs, to expect downsizing, to expect, personality conflicts, and people just get moved out of jobs.
Mm,
So,
mm, mm.
if you're going to lose your job and if you can't depend on, I'm going to be here until I retire, that's nobody can say that anymore with much confidence. So, you have to build your personal brand because once you lose that job or that title or that network, what do you got? You have this resume, but you've done nothing with it. And nobody knows who you are. And if you've made the same mistake that I made back in the day, I had all these people that were reaching out to me on LinkedIn, but I'm like, you don't work for IBM. You're not my customer. You're not my business partner. Don't know you. Bye. What a dumb way to leverage my network. All I needed to do was be like, oh, that person's interesting. Maybe I could learn from them. So I teach how to use LinkedIn to build your brand. And LinkedIn
Yes.
is no longer just an online resume. This is a platform for expertise. And so thought leaders show up there. And the really interesting part about LinkedIn, a lot of people, when I'm first coaching them on LinkedIn, they're like, "Oh my god, you going to make me be a content creator? Because I don't have that kind of bandwidth. I don't want to make a post. I don't want to do videos. I don't want to post selfies. No, that's not how you grow anyway. How you grow on LinkedIn is in the comments. And so if you
Mhm.
sit there and Aimee does this great post on leadership, or let's say she does a great post on leadership. Well, I go out to Aimee's and I'm like, Aimee, I love how you said this. In fact, I'm going to double down on this part and I'm going to say this. And what's going to happen is Aimee's network is going to be like, who's that Lyndsay lady? She's got something to say. I want to be connected to her. And so all of a sudden, now, by the way, LinkedIn is giving you analytics on your comments, not just your posts. So it's telling
Wow.
you how many people saw that comment. I'm telling you, I have hundreds, if not thousands, of people seeing my comments every day. And these are not my posts, these are just comments. That's how you grow. So
Wow,
when you
Lindsay, I
think,
that's
yeah,
amazing.
it's
Oh,
cool.
wow.
When you think about how you show up, like you're not going to write vice president of business development and call it a day. You're going to write a few things that you are. I'm a multi hyphenate. So mine now, I mean, the last 3 years, I'm a podcast host, an author, a speaker, a coach, a founder. Yeah, all of those things, but I'm other things too. And I always encourage people to put some personal stuff in there. So mine also says mom of twins and wiener dog lover. Shout out to Poppy Long Sausage, my 8-pound wonder who's down here. Um, the reason you do the personal thing is because it's a softball. It's an easy
Mm.
way to give someone a reason to connect. And the amount of people that comment on the wiener dog lover or on the twins thing is remarkable. So, are you, oh, you have twins? I'm a twin. Or my brother's a twin. Or I have twins. Or, it's just an easy way to connect. So, I will tell you, compared to all of the social platforms, and the only one I'm not on is X, this is the most engaged, the friendliest, the most curious, and if you are trying to make a career at whatever it is, even if it's your side hustle you wanna highlight, that's the place you wanna do it. So I sound like I work for LinkedIn. I really don't, and they did not sponsor this podcast. I'm telling you,
I love it. I
this
love
is
it, though.
how you grow. This is how you
No,
grow.
you're so right. I never even thought about LinkedIn that way at
Yeah.
all. It was just sort of for me, it was something that I had to have as I was going out and getting these, larger corporate contracts. And it was sort of a, okay, well, you have to do this. And okay, well, okay, we'll do this.
Alright,
So it's
well,
just like a business card.
let me
Yeah.
blow your mind with one more thing. Executives who post get something like 360% more reach than a regular contributor. And your brand becomes 82% more trustworthy because you are an executive posting. So
Well,
any C-suite executive that's like, I don't have time for LinkedIn. I have people to manage that. Stop right now. Get out there and start talking. I was coaching a CEO last year, and she had gone from CFO to CEO. And she hired me because she's like, this is a different voice. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's a really different voice to go from CFO to CEO. She goes, I said, so why do you want to work with me? And she said, well, I do really good work and people respect my work, but I don't think they like me. And I went,
no.
"Oh, okay. All right. Well, we've got to humanize your voice and you're going to start using LinkedIn." And she's like, "Oh, I have people for that." I go, "No, no, no. You're going to start welcoming every new hire onto, welcome to the team so and so. And they're going to see the CEO of my company just welcomed me. Wow. Wow. That's really meaningful." What did that take her? 6 seconds? She can do that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when someone has a big win, give them a shout out, talk about it. Who doesn't want to work for a CEO that sees their people? Like, it's so easy. So that's just a super simple way for people to think about it. But when you reach out to a brand and that brand responds, you're stoked, right? How many times have we
Totally.
reached out to brands who never respond? And you're always like, so much for that, shouting into the void again.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So think about it.
Amazing. No, those are pearls of wisdom. I love it. You're just, and you're full of those. We were talking about another example of a recent college graduate that had
Mm.
coached, and he's a
Yes.
second generation outlier from the Outlier project, which we're both
Yes.
members. And,
Fantastic. Yes.
how you basically mentored this kid as he's right out of college, and what
Mhm.
was the advice you gave him?
Yeah, so Ben
Tell
reached
us a
out to
story.
me. His dad and I are friends, and he was like, "My dad says, you know everything." I'm like, "Oh, I don't know anything, but go ahead." And he's like, "So what advice do you have for me since I just graduated college?" And I said, "All right, I'm going to give you advice that you're probably never going to get from a college professor or likely any of your parents' friends, but I want you to start a side hustle." And he was like, "Oh, now?" And I said, "Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you why. You're gonna do your job search, you're gonna get your job. But like we said before, there's no such thing as job security. So when you always have something to fall back on that's yours, you always will have some kind of source of income." And I said, "I'm gonna guess that because you're young and whatever generation that is, I always screw them up, the young one, the Gen Alpha or Gen whatever, that generation
Why?
knows technology, knows video, knows content, knows social media like it's in their brains, easy, easy for them." I have 17-year-old twins, so I know this to be true. And so he's like, "No, Lynz, I'm a whiz at video. I'm a whiz at creating graphic stuff and all that kind of thing." And I'm like, "See, I told you." I go, "How about this? You create me a video for my podcast, and I'm going to shout you out to all the outliers and on LinkedIn." And he's like, "Oh, it's on. Let's go." And so he created the most fabulous video. I was trying to get a brand deal with Color Wow. Color Wow, if you're listening, I'm still here. Um, so would love to partner with them, but we did this really funny, clever video of like 100 different images of all my different hairdos while I'm doing my podcast. And I wanted them to sponsor my podcast. And it was super cute, great music. It was awesome. I was so impressed. So I shouted him out. I think he got 6 clients out of that. And so his side hustle is humming. And now on his
Yes.
LinkedIn, that is part of his brand. So it's pretty
That
cool.
is so cool, and I don't think people realize, especially young people, I don't think they realize how easy this
Yeah.
especially social media hustle is. In fact, I just hired a girl, she's still in college, and
Uh-huh.
we helped her actually form her own company.
Yeah.
Because 'cause I'm like, "Girl, you don't just do this for me, do this for a
Mm.
lot of people. I will
Yes.
introduce you to people, and we will build you
Yeah.
a company, and you can do social media, and then you can figure out whatever else you wanna do with your life, but
Yeah.
for now, this will
Ugh,
cover your needs. This is gonna
it's a
cover your money."
no-brainer. For them, it's a
Yeah.
no-brainer, and listen, everybody, like, in their 40s and up, we're not good at this.
No.
We don't our brains don't work that way, and no matter how many times I create a reel, I don't think my muscles are getting stronger. I think they're just kinda stuck. So, like, these guys have really good social muscles that way, and, I love to leverage them, so it's a joy to work with these guys who are so, so fast, and,
Right.
I
Yeah.
don't think
It's
like
like
that.
they're
So
born fluent in social media, and we
100%.
didn't, we're not fluent because we didn't grow up with it. It's new
Yeah.
for us, you know?
So
It
all the
wasn't here.
parents listening, go encourage
Yes.
your kids to do this. This is a great side hustle. And I know my daughter, she's managing 3 social accounts for her school, and she wants to go into marketing in college. So this is like excellent experience for her to go, and she's not getting paid for that. So if she were smart, she'd come work for me, but whatever.
Right?
She
Eventually,
will.
right?
She will. Yeah.
Eventually, which needs the money.
Right.
For sure. Well, let's talk a little bit about Outlier Project because I'm sure there's
Yes.
a lot of people that are unfamiliar with what the Outlier Project
Would
is.
love
And
to.
yeah, let's get into it.
All right. So the Outlier Project, as I love to talk about it, this is like 800 or so people who choose to live extraordinary lives. And that's kind of a nice statement and all, but I will tell you, this community has completely changed my life. And I don't just mean like you join the community and, once in a while you talk to one person. I'm saying like every week we have access to an incredible legend. And I'm talking like Guy Kawasaki, or we just had Renee Martino on last week. She was the mother in Jersey Boys on Broadway, and then went and starred in the movie, Clint Eastwood's movie, as the mother in Jersey Boys on that. And she's become this baller coach. And it was such a joy and a thrill to listen to her. We have incredible keynote speakers, veterans, professional athletes, Dwight Evans, Dominique Wilkins, Layla Ali, and we get an hour with these people every week. So we get to ask them anything, which is super cool. And the way I play it and the way I nurture those relationships, they become my friends. They end up on my show. It's pretty great. So aside from that, though, you have all these people who are doing phenomenally cool stuff. A mix of entrepreneurs, corporate people, speakers, athletes, authors, Ivy League professors, you name it. And because we are so intent on living these big lives, we vibrate at a real high level. So whenever you're in company with these people, it's not a lot of small talk. We kind of go right in, and these people have become my entire personal board of advisors. Whenever I'm doubting myself, I can make one of 50 phone calls or a text and be like, I really need some advice, or I'm doubting myself. And I'm usually met with, you're Lyndsay and Dowd. You belong in every room. Knock it off. And, that kind of confidence and connection is precious. And I know you know this, we've talked about this before, but when you tell your family or your childhood friends or your neighbors that you're doing, your business, or you're building something new, they don't know what that is. They don't know what that means. They don't understand how you're podcasting. They don't understand all this stuff, and they don't know how to support you, and they project all of their fears onto you. And
Yeah.
this group doesn't do that. We're kind of the opposite. We're like, "Hell yeah, double down. Let's go. I have an introduction for you." And that's a fabulous way to live. So on top of all that, we get together every month somewhere in the country. I think there's a meetup in Miami this month. Then they're going to the Yale and Harvard game. Then they'll do ice skating in Rockefeller Center, and we do stuff on the West Coast. We do it in Midwest, and we all see each other. We travel for each other too. So it's a pretty special group. And oh, by the way, our mascot is the platypus because, that's the ultimate outlier.
I love it. I know, where's my hat? I just had my hat. Took my picture with my
Yes, there
new,
it is. I love those hats.
hat. I am, also a
Yeah.
proud member. So yeah, I'm really happy to be there. It's just so nice to be with a bunch of people that are really, writing books and really doing these amazing podcasts. And
Yeah,
because that's what I'm doing right now. And I need to be around people, tell me who you walk with and I'll tell you who you are. I want to be
that's
keynote
right.
speaking. I
That's right.
want to be doing all these things.
If you could see my desk, there's about 60, 70 books. I'd say most of them are written by outliers that are just, sitting here, and a lot of them are signed. But like, that's a really cool thing to say. All of these books are from my friends. And, when you're hanging out with that caliber of people, it just makes you better.
Yeah, it really does. It's just thank you so much for the invitation to that. I was just
Ah,
so
it
I'm
was a
so happy to
pleasure.
be
I'm
there,
so happy you
Lindsay.
came. So happy you came. I just can't wait
Yes.
for you to meet everybody. So it's going to be so
Oh my
awesome.
gosh, I know. I'm getting there slowly. I'm meeting a few people here and there now, and I put a post
Good.
up yesterday and got a lot of reactions. So I'm hoping
Good,
I'm
good, good, good.
definitely I'm getting in the network now. So we're
Yes.
both moms, and I wanted to get
Yes.
into a little bit of like the mom and leadership thing, which is my world. And so you're a mom. You've got your 17-year-old twins. So
Yeah.
you've lived a chapter of raising littles while you were working full
Mhm.
time. What
Yes.
lessons did you take from motherhood that influence how you lead today?
I will tell you, when my babies were small, my twins were my first and my last. And when you're a new mom, there's a lot you don't know. And of course, there's books, but, the experiential learning, especially with twins, it's kind of a blur. And I asked for help, and it was different from my sister-in-law who refused help. She had her mother helping her, but I was like, "Let's get some au pairs." And so we had 3 French au pairs and then 3 German au pairs, not all at the same time. But each year we'd have another one. And those au pairs, first of all, they were absolutely lovely, lovely women, but they allowed me to do the things I wanted to do with my kids. So they took care of the laundry. They kept their rooms clean. They cooked for them. They did all of the mundane tasks that we end up resenting so much. So when I came out of my office and I was working remotely, I'd worked remotely my almost my whole career. I would travel a lot, but when I'd come out of my office, I could see them. I could play with them. I had the energy to engage. So that was really, really important. But what I will say, as I fast forwarded to where they are now, you catch yourself sometimes. Here I am, I've written these books on leadership, I teach leadership. I catch myself being a rotten leader every once in a while where I'm like, just do it. Or, you yell because you've just run out of patience, you're tired of talking. And I'm like, oof, if I did this to employees, like our trust would be fractured. And you have to be consistent with who you
Mhm,
are to the external world and who you are at home. And I think so many parents and kids and siblings, we all take each other for granted. And
mhm.
I know my two, they fight like cats and dogs sometimes. And sharing a car is going to be the bane of everyone's existence. But they're not getting their own cars, not for now. So they've gotta make
It's
it
good.
work. I was also, I was not the gentle parenting movement, that's not me. We were much more like consequences and, do what you say you're gonna do, and, we were definitely more authoritarian, more, like, "This is the way that we work in this house, and everyone contributes, and, if you don't, like, you don't get to play on your computer, you don't get to have an iPad, you don't get to watch TV," whatever that was, because
Mhm.
they have to learn. They have to, they have to have some tough love. It's really, really important. And my daughter gave me the best compliment. We were talking about a girlfriend of hers, and she goes, "Mom, I thank God every day how I was raised because this girl is so spoiled and she doesn't know how to do anything." And I was like, "Oh, like what?" She goes, "Mom, I've been doing laundry since I was 8. This girl's never done a load of laundry." I'm like, "Y'all are going to college next year. Do you know how hard that's going
Eat
to be for her?" She goes, "Oh, tell me about it." And when you get that feedback from your kid, oh, it's good. It's
Yeah, it's
good.
so good. I mean, it's
Yeah.
really good. I had a guest on last week, Amanda Jaggert, and we were talking about how you're not raising children, you're raising
Mhm.
adults.
Hell yeah.
You're raising future parents, future spouses, and it's,
Yeah.
our duty to our children is to help them grow up to be really good people,
Well,
like
and
adult people.
yes, and you and I talked about this. We talked about how important it was for kids to have eye contact and shake your
Yes.
hand and greet you and not just come in the house and do one of these and run the other way to their room. Like, it's important that they engage. And so my kids, I can chuck them in any room. They will find their way. They will make some friends. They will talk to adults. I'm proud of that, and, I think that's really, really important. So, whenever we're at a restaurant, they would as when they were little, "Mommy, will you tell them I want," I go, "No, you tell them what you want." And so they're like, "Oh my
Yeah,
god." And so it's, this moment of stress for them, and then they do it, and I'm like, "Was that hard?" And they're like, "Yeah, but it was okay." I'm like, "Okay,
right.
so you're
Yeah.
good. You keep going. You've got this." And so now
Yeah.
they know what they want, unless it's sushi, and then they make me order every time, but
Oh, my kids know what they like at sushi.
they know what they like, they just like me to do it.
Oh, that's so cute. Yeah, I know, it's just, we're raising these young people, these young adults, and it's so nice to have a world. I want to live in a world where I can make eye
Right.
contact with other people and they can
Right.
make eye contact with me and we can be polite with one another. And I
Yeah.
think that, when we raise our children this way, that's the kind of world that we'll end up with. But if we
Heck, I hope so.
aren't intentional about raising our children that way, we'll
Well,
get a world full of screen stares who don't know how to make who have no soft skills. And I feel like in the future, AI can do lots of things, but it can't be human. And we need to
no,
focus on being more human. And we need to
we
focus on those skills. We
let's
need to be enforcing those skills because the AI can do everything else, but it can't be us.
how much does it pain you when you're out for dinner and you see a table with a family and everyone's on their devices? Like,
Oh, it
it
hurts my
breaks
heart.
my heart. It
Yeah.
I'm like, "Why are y'all even here?" You
Yeah.
could go and sit and look at your devices at home. Why spend the money on the meal? Like, that's just so sad. It's such a lost opportunity.
It
And,
is.
you know this, it goes so fast. I mean, my kids are
Oh,
gonna
it
be
goes
gone
so
next year. And
fast.
so, like, when you get to drive your kids around, I called that hostage time. So they
Yes.
they couldn't get
Yes.
out of the car, so they had to listen to whatever it was I was talking about. But, that's fleeting. They drive themselves now. So if I get them in the car, I wanna know what's going on in their heads. I wanna know, like, how they're doing. I'm like, "Put your phone down, talk to me. I only have,
Yeah.
like, a few minutes with you today. Let's go." And they're like, "Okay."
Yes. It'll slip right by, the time will slip right by. I know this morning I just took an easy morning. The kids had their, homeschool program today, but I looked at them and I needed to spend some time with them, so we
I
just
know.
took a slow morning this morning. I was like, "You know what? I don't have
Mm.
anything on the calendar this morning. I have a white space on my calendar. I'm gonna make pancakes, and we're gonna hang
Right.
out, and then we're gonna cuddle on the couch." And that's what we
Well,
did this morning, and if you know, because I know it just goes so fast, and,
does.
it's slipping, the time slips right through your fingers, and I thought, "You know what?
Yeah.
I have time for this today. Let's do this.
And
Why
there's
not?"
less cuddling as they get older, but I will say this, I told my son, I said, "Listen, I want a hug from you every single day until you leave for college." And so he
Mm.
knows, and I'll be like, "I didn't get my hug today." I'll be like, "Mom," and he's 6'3" now, so he's like, "Rah."
Oh.
Envelops me, and I'm like, it's sweet.
Oh,
So every night
it's
before bed, he always hugs me, which is just so nice.
it's so cute. I know my 16-year-old is so sweet to me too. I think he knows, he goes, "Mom, my next birthday is gonna be my last birthday as a
Mm.
child." I'm like,
Oh.
"Oh, my heart. Are you sure? I don't think I'm ready."
Yeah.
It happens so
Uh,
fast.
it does.
But yeah, so okay, so you talked about the power of asking for help. I love this because we as moms, like sometimes we feel like we have a duty to be superwoman and a total martyr and just take it all on. But I
Uh-huh.
think, as you said, the key to your balancing your life was you asking for help with your au pairs and
Yeah.
outsourcing the chores and the mundane tasks and also leaning on your community. But why do you think so many women hesitate to do this?
So I think as women, we don't like to bother people. We don't want to inconvenience people. And we were taught to be polite and be quiet and be demure, and everybody feels like it's a bother. I'm going to use a couple of examples. So, when you get a handwritten note in the mail, you're like beside yourself. You're delighted, right? Like it feels like so precious and so special. When someone knocks on the door and says, "You want to have a glass of wine or you want to hang out for a little bit?" I'm like, this is old school. I love it. Come in. I mean, like, that's wonderful. But I'll tell you a really cool story. A girlfriend of mine who was on my show told me this story. This is not my story, but I love it so much. And she was talking to two of her neighbors, and they were just commenting on how if my children ask me one more time what's for dinner, I'm going to like pull all my hair out and jump off a bridge. And so she looked at them and she's like, "Well, what if we work together on this? What if I'm making lasagna on Monday night, what if I make 3 lasagnas? And I'll drop one at your doorstep and one at your doorstep, and we don't have to hang out, but I'm gonna put it there, and you just have to get it, know it's there, and that's it. And then Tuesday night, you do it, and Wednesday night, you do it. And that's 3 dinners we don't have to think about, plus we've got leftovers." So they started doing this, and more moms started joining, and it became this collective. But not only that, it became this beautiful point of connection. And you could say, "Oh my gosh, what recipe was that? That chili was so good," or "The chicken pot pie was amazing," or whatever it was. And everyone is hungry for connection. So I love that story, but I think you want me to talk about my community and my neighborhood. Am I right?
I'd love to get into your community. I know we've been talking about you gotta hear about all the girls, you gotta hear this. This is
So I
amazing.
I live in North Andover, Massachusetts, and when we moved here, and I'm from New York, so this is not like I'm not a masshole. And so I didn't know like the communities all that well. And when we moved into this house, my kids were 2, and I really didn't know much about the neighborhood. And shortly after we moved in, someone dropped off a directory, and I was like, "We have a directory? Like this is cool." And there's a map, and you could see, all the names of all the houses, and you could see how old the kids were and all the contact information, and I'm like, "Wow, this is like nothing I've ever seen before. This is cool." And then an invitation came, and it was at the time, I don't know how many years it was. Now we're up to our 39th year of planning this holiday party, and it's called the tree toasting. And so it was this progressive cocktail party. We had 3 houses or 3 hosts, and if you're the host, all you have to do is clean your house. And the neighbors, anybody that's gonna come, you pay, whatever it is per couple. I think we're at like $90 now. That pays for the food and the drink, or it pays for the drinks, and then the neighbors would drop off the food. So you either were dropping off heavy apps or you were dropping off dessert. And we would move from one house to the other, and everybody would get dressed up, and it would be like anywhere from 65 to 85 people. And everyone looked forward to this tradition. And so the first time I went, I didn't know what to expect, and I didn't know how great this was. I didn't know anything. I'm like, "All right, it's a neighborhood party. I hope I fit in. I don't know how this is gonna go." I danced till 3 o'clock in the morning. My husband didn't go. He had some other engagement, and I came home and I'm shaking him. I'm like, "Do you know where we moved? This is incredible." And needless to say, I've been running that party for the last 9 years, and I recruited my neighbor across the street, who happens to be an extraordinary event planner with access to incredible stuff. So we've really turned it up a few notches, and now everyone feels very excited to come. We've incorporated ice luges and chocolate fountains and all kinds of really good stuff. But we also have a progressive dinner in the spring. We have an end of school year bike parade for the kids, and then we have an incredible Halloween where we have one of our neighbors. She does a performance every year of making a witch's brew. And so all the kids meet on her lawn on Halloween at 4:33. And then she does her performance, and then they all start trick or treating together. And it is just a super, super special place. Now, I will not tell you I am best friends with all of these people, but I will tell you, if I need a chainsaw or a bar butter or a cup of sugar, I have many, many people I can ask, and they have become some of my best friends. But it has just been a joy to have my kids grow up in this space and to ride bikes and to play, and it's super, super special. So I encourage anybody in the neighborhood to really think about what you can do to change the way you live, because when you have this kind of connection, we're known in our town as like one of the best neighborhoods, because of what we do, and we're proud of that. So it feels exclusive, it feels really cool, and it's very special to be a
Yeah.
part of.
Yeah,
Most of
yeah.
my friends are like, "Oh, your neighborhood, I want to come to one of your parties." I'm like, "Sorry, you got to move here."
You gotta move here. I know, I had no idea I was moving into that kinda neighborhood too. A shout out to the
Right.
Seaside Sisterhood. Hi,
I
girls.
know.
But yeah, it's something special. It really is. And why do you think that community rituals are so important for happiness?
I think people can get really lonely. And I think you could be in a job with hundreds of people in your building, but if you're not making connection, if you're not getting that quality time, it feels lonely. And when you can create that for yourself and you can collect these memories, it really fills your cup. And I have countless memories of all of these parties and block parties and just fun little things we've done as neighbors over the years that have just been extraordinarily special, and sometimes really small. And sometimes it's, hey, impromptu, I've got like stuff in my cabinet. You've got stuff in your cabinet. Let's have a glass of wine. Let's watch, TV together. Those things mean so much, and it doesn't mean I'm signing up for a lifetime of we're watching TV every Wednesday. It just means, like, for a night, we get to share space and connect and talk about things that are meaningful, and I think everybody wants that, and that's why the Outlier project is so important, because for any of us entrepreneurs that aren't in an office or a company, you create that community and that corporation for yourself, you know?
Yeah,
So I
you're
I
right.
really feel like you need that on every level, both in person and virtual, in business and in life. It's just important.
I love it. I love that. I know. You're just amazing. You are. I love the way that you lead. Your leadership flows, you can see your
Thanks.
leadership in all the aspects of your life. So
Mm.
you can tell us, you've got a new show, new live show, Leadership Lounge with Liz. Tell us about it.
I have my podcast. My podcast has been trucking along. We're at episode 171. It is scheduled into June of next year. Like, it's doing great. And on on that show, I've got these legends. I mean, we're talking Olympians and CEOs and veterans and professional athletes and people with enormous followings. And we're talking like Beyonce's dad, major Hollywood producers, like head of networks, like these kinds of people. And their stories are amazing and impactful, and their resilience is like super inspiring. But there are tons of leaders out there that might not have as big of a following. And I wanted to extend my platform and really leverage those stories to teach more. And so I said, what else could I do that will, leverage all the people in my network and give these other people an opportunity to have the spotlight, share a story, and I can illustrate yet more examples of what great leadership looks and feels like. So I created the Leadership Lounge, and that is going to be on Thursdays at 1 p.m. Eastern. We'll be streaming live on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and on Insta. And these are for some of the unsung heroes and people that are doing incredible stuff that deserve a platform. So the difference with that show, it is paid, so my guests pay to be on it, but that also weeds out the fakers. There's a lot of fakers out there that say they're doing amazing stuff, and they're really not. So it weeds out the
Yeah.
fakers, but it also makes for a really compelling episode because they're really serious about being there, and it makes it really fun. So I kick it off on Monday, and then every Thursday after that will be
So
live. So
exciting.
it's fun.
Lynz, that's just so exciting. I know it's a whole new world. I'm excited for the tech
Yeah.
side of things to see how it all goes. I'm
Oh, me
very
too.
excited for you.
I'm a little nervous, but I think it's gonna be good. So I have my best friend's gonna be my crash test dummy. So if we have any technical issues, she knows how to vamp, so she can, keep the audience going.
Fantastic. I mean, that's the key, right? You got
Yeah,
our first or test your pancake, our first time doing anything.
exactly.
But when you're on your own, when you're an entrepreneur, you have to be okay doing
Yes,
new things, trying
100%.
new things. Maybe it's not going to be perfect, but that's
Mm-mm,
okay. We have,
mm-mm.
that's the only way you can actually learn is by doing.
No,
It's
perfection is
experiential
just
learning.
it's such a foolish thing to pursue. And if you were to look at my podcast, I mean, I have changed my podcast so many times. Like the thumbnails have changed. I had like different calls to action in there. I had different intros. It's mine. Is somebody going to look at it and watch? First of all, nobody's watching it from beginning to end. Like you'd be insane. But if you go back and you see an earlier episode, you'll see my growth. You'll see the trajectory, and I can't be mad at that. Like that's just how it was. So
Yeah.
it's
It's
okay.
how
It's a
we
learning
learn.
process.
It's really
Yeah.
how we learn, and it's okay to learn, it's okay to do, it's okay to try, girls. Like,
Yes.
don't be afraid. Just give it a go. You never
Yeah.
know what you can do until you try.
So true.
Yeah.
So true. Don't let
Yeah.
perfection get in the way. Just do it.
Just do it. Thank you. I love it. So, I always like to end with something light. What's one small joy, ritual, or tradition that keeps you grounded and grateful?
Oh,
Oh,
I mean, there's so many. You've heard me talk about Outlier. I love talking to my friends who are like so dear to me. There is never a week where there's not at least 6 voice texts that go out to my friends or come back to me just saying I'm thinking about you, and how are you doing, and this reminded me of you, something small. But those little moments, guys, please don't sleep on that. If you see something and it reminds you of someone you haven't talked to in a while, go give them a voice text, give them a regular text, call them. Those little things mean so, so much. And people love to know that they're being thought of. So that's just the simplest thing you could do. It's free, and just do it. I think it makes such a big difference in their day, in their life. And especially when someone says that you did something good, you're like, "I did? Oh,
yeah.
thanks." It just feels good. So I don't care how baller you get in your life, those moments and those little things of like, "Amy, you rocked this podcast. I just wanna tell you how good it was." Like, that would make your day.
It really does. Yeah. No, it really does. And it's funny, but like the higher you climb, the kind of the more you need somebody to tell you, like, hey, you're doing good. Cause
Yeah.
it's just true. The more you put yourself out there, the more, you put yourself out there. And it's nice
Yeah.
to get some positive feedback. So I can see how all the outliers supporting each other. I tried to
Yeah.
do this morning. I was on on the Circle app doing the thing, and I just
Yeah.
wanted to kind of give everybody, who gave me a little tap back too.
So sweet,
Give 'em
but
a
you
little
know what?
nudge.
As a leader, that's
Yeah.
also such a powerful thing to do, and, I'll tell you just a quick little story, because
Yeah.
this is a really impactful story. There was a VP, and she was managing, like, a call center kind of, situation, so imagine, prairie dog in the little cubicles, and, everybody's making their calls, and she started this practice of every time she heard someone do a good call, she'd walk by and she'd put a little Post-it on their desk, and it would say, like, "Great job on that last call." When she was in the office, people would be, like, kinda looking like, "Where is she? Where is she?" And she started doing it, and, like, every day, she would do it a few times a day. This kind of caught fire, and people were like, "Oh, I hope I get a Post-it. I hope I do something good." And so they were trying harder, and they wanted to get that recognition, but then they started doing it for each other. And so, like, "Hey, great job on that last call. Like how you did that. That was really good." And they completely changed the culture of where they worked by that little action. In leadership, everything I teach, nothing is huge, nothing is super hard. This is all very human stuff. But just like with the text, just like with the voice text, just like with the Post-its, those little things really matter. They can change everything. And if you made brownies for your neighbor and just said, I just had some extra, I wanted you to have them, they're going to remember that. And they'll likely turn it
Yes.
around for you. So
I
easy.
love it. I know. I have one neighbor and she'll just randomly drop fruit off at my door because she knows I'm fully Hawaiian in my heart, and she lived in Hawaii also, and
Nice.
she grows guavas and
Oh.
dragon fruit. And so she's like she'll just drop a bag of, guavas on my door. Dragon She actually is growing me two dragon fruit trees right now. She's so sweet. But I had extra passion fruits, and so I just dropped them off on her door. Didn't say, just send her a little text, "Hey,
Yep.
just drop some fruit on your door for you." But those sweet the little things are the big
They carry weight.
things.
They really are.
Yeah.
They carry weight. And, same thing
Yes.
with your kids. If you
Yeah.
do something real, just little for them, like, I know you've been eyeing my lip gloss. I bought you your own.
Oh,
What?
yes.
That's huge. It's huge.
It is. It's amazing. I love to do one little thing for each well, I have so many kids. So
I
one
know
little
you
thing for each kid per
you would
week
bunk.
is it's like I can't do it every day, but once a week, and I love to do a date. I'd like to
Yeah.
take my kids on individual dates. I love
So
to do it. I
important.
try to do it once a week. If even if it's just going to the drive-through Starbucks
I
with my
love that.
16-year-old,
I love
or
that.
taking my 13-year-old to the surf shop to go get surf wax, or
Yeah.
my little girl just loves frozen yogurt. I mean, and she's like, "Can we please go to the toy store, mommy?" And I'm like, "Yes," because they're only gonna wanna go to the toy store for, like, a minute, and then it's
That's right.
over. It happens so fast.
That's right,
Yeah.
and you have the
I'm like,
perspective to see it. Like,
"Yeah,
for me, everything was happening all at the same time, so it wasn't
yeah."
like, I'm like, "Toy store again? No, I don't wanna spend any money at that godforsaken place, and if I have one more birthday party I have to go buy a toy for, please." Like, I hated it, but,
Yeah, I
perspective,
this
we're not
time
going to the
around,
toy
it's
store anymore.
it's a whole different trip this time around, having your kids in your 40s when you've already
Oh.
had kids and having another batch, these 2, I've got
Oh, yeah.
a 3-year-old and a 4-year-old. I enjoy them so much
Yes.
more because
Course,
I just know
course.
it doesn't last.
No,
It's
it really doesn't.
she's like a little dolly right now with her curly blonde hair and her, like, cuteness and the way she talks and walks with it's the cutest thing
I bet
ever,
the older ones are so entertained by her too.
Oh my gosh, she's the mascot of the house. The 16-year-old is actually, like he's head over heels, like, she has him wrapped around her finger, and all
So
he's just
sweet.
it's the sweetest thing I've ever seen. She loves him too. She wants to marry him when she grows up.
So sweet.
She's like, "I like him, I love him, and he makes me laugh. I think he's the one."
Well, those are qualities you want, maybe just not in a brother.
Not an idea. I thought I was trying to explain that you can't marry your brothers, and then made her sad, so I was like, "Ah, we'll pick that up in a few years."
Mm-mm. We can wait.
Can wait. That is
So cute.
so cute. Yeah, I mean, it really goes so fast, and same for you. I mean, this is it. You're almost an empty nester.
Yeah, they're gonna leave in one fell swoop, and I think the only thing we've got going for us is my kids both went to sleepaway camp, so they were gone for a month every summer, and so we were used to that month of being just my husband and me, and so we know what that feels like. We just don't know what that feels like for, like, a whole long period of time. So,
Right?
that's the harder part, but,
Yeah.
that and, my daughter lived in, Harlem for a month when she was 15. She was in this, like, Broadway intensive, and so she was living in the city and taking the subway and managing her food budget and doing her laundry and so she got
Wow.
a taste, and it made her grow up really quick,
Yeah.
and it taught her so much. That experience changed her life, so I'm a big proponent of letting your kids go out to sleepaway camp and things that will encourage them to fend for themselves. They learn a lot from those moments. It's very cool.
Yes.
So I
It's
hope
really, really
that,
cool.
we're all prepared. We'll see.
Oh my gosh. Do you have any plans for yourself? Is there any part of you that's excited for this next chapter of your life?
100%. I mean, listen, I wasn't into the baby phase, and it might have
Yeah.
been because they were twins, and it was just a
Twins?
lot and disgusting and
It's
bleh,
hard.
gross. It was just a lot of fluids, and I just don't want that ever again. But I really looked forward to when they could talk and when I could really kind of see their little brains working. So I enjoy them as humans so
Mhm.
much, and I really love seeing how they problem solve the world. And my son, this is a year or so ago, he came home from camp and he was crying, and I was like, "What's wrong?" And he's like, "I have to grow up now." And I went,
Mm.
"Oh, buddy." He's like, "I have so many decisions I have to make." And I was like, "Whoa, you're just 15. Like, you don't have to know what you're going to major in now. You don't have to know like what you're doing with the rest of your life now. We're going to take it one year at a time." And he
Yeah.
took a little bit of relief in that. But yeah, when you get to see them kind of thinking about themselves in the context of the big world, it's really cool to see. So I enjoy who they've become, and I enjoy when people tell me what they observe in them and how they're both great kids and they're well thought of and sought after, and they're both acting like leaders, in their own right, and they're so different. And so I enjoy them as humans, and I am so excited to see where college takes them and the lessons that they're going to learn, the friends they're going to make, the travel they're about to experience. All of that is like so exciting to watch.
I
So
know.
yeah, I'm very excited for them. I'm excited for us. It's really good. I'm very pumped. I think I'm going to be crushed when I realize that they're gone and they're not coming back for a few months. Like, that's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
It's all
Oh,
goodness for
you'll
them.
see each other. I know there's so many activities, it seems like.
Yeah.
I have friends whose kids are, away
Yeah.
at their first year of college, and I'm like, "Oh,
Yep.
you guys are there all the time."
I know. Well, it depends on where they go. I mean, like, I
Yes.
grew up in New York and I went to Boulder, and my parents didn't come out very often, and I didn't go home very often. So that's a reality. And now,
Mm.
there's parents weekend, there's things like
Yes.
that. So depending on where they end up, I hope that we get to
Yeah.
experience that stuff. I just hope it's
Yeah.
not on the same weekend. So whoever's listening, universe, please, not the same weekend.
Oh, I know, because 'cause you've got the 2, and they're probably
Yeah.
not gonna go to the same place. They don't wanna go to
Mm-mm.
the same school? Probably
If
not.
they do go to the same school, it will be a really big school where they
Yeah.
probably won't see each other. It could happen, but probably unlikely.
Wow, it's gonna be such a big year. Oh my gosh, Lindsay, with your new show and your podcast. Any books planned? Speaking of
No,
new
I've written
things?
2. I'm
Yes.
good for now. I'm
Yeah.
not planning on writing anymore. I mean, stranger things could happen. I never say never because I didn't plan on writing the first 2. So, it could happen, but I'm not like looking for it. So I'm just super open to the opportunities that are coming my way. And there's a few people that are reaching out with some very cool ideas of things to do. So we'll see what happens. But
I love
yeah,
it.
it's
I
right
love
now
it.
I'm
Well,
keynoting, coaching, doing the shows, and always looking for sponsors, and yeah, those are all fun things.
yes, always looking for sponsors. Hello, sponsors, are you there? Are you listening?
Hey, let's sponsor my show. It's a brand that looks really good on you.
Yes, totally. Oh, Lindsay, thank you for reminding us that leadership begins with authenticity and that reinvention can happen at any age, in any season. You've shown us that community, curiosity, and courage are the true engines of fulfillment, whether in business or right on your own street. It's so nice having you on the show today. And if you would like to connect with Lindsay, you can visit her at heartbeatforhire.com and follow her across LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube at Lyndsay Dowd H4H. You can also tune in to her top 2.5 globally ranked podcast, Heartbeat for Hire, and her new live show, Leadership Lounge with Lynz, streaming on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Instagram. And to all of
Wow,
you
you said it
listening,
all.
isn't that cool?
That was good.
And to all of you listening, remember, leadership doesn't always look like a corner office. Sometimes it looks like a kitchen table, a shared driveway, or a neighbor who makes the world just a little bit warmer. Stay curious, stay connected, and keep managing her.